Hi Aries, welcome to a new feature of mine. I'm going to be doing general tarot readings. I was thinking, okay, when am I going to be doing them? I'm going to be doing 2 every month. I currently do 1 general and 1 love reading. I want to thank anyone who chimed in about the love reading situation. I'm going to keep those. If they don't appeal to you, then obviously you don't have to watch them, but there are enough people that want to keep them, so I'm going to keep them separate. For the general readings, I had wanted to increase them, but not necessarily have them 4 times a month. So this one is going to cover the first 2 weeks of the month of October, and it's going to end with the full moon on the 16th, which happens to be in Aries. I think it's 23 degrees Aries. So this is in your sign. You may have some kind of ending in terms of a certain part of you, a certain thing that you have always been about. You know, sometimes full moons are about detoxification and just letting go of what no longer serves you, and you may decide to make a change of some sort. And the other thing too, I was thinking, I'm trying to think of all the other stuff that's happening, because like now that Jupiter is in Libra, that's your 7th house, so you have a lot of activity in that 7th house, and so maybe relationships are very strong for you. Also, because, you know, at the time of the full moon, this means that the sun is in direct opposition. So while you've got that full moon in the 1st house, you've got the sun in the 7th house of relationships. I mean, committed partnerships. So your spouse may, you know, be part of that full moon. It may be like me time versus we time. And you may be wondering, you know, whatever happened to your own dreams. And you may be kind of like getting quite assertive about this and saying, I need to pursue my stuff, and you're keeping me from that. And there's this tug of war. So that could be, that's just one example. But, you know, you rule the 1st house. So when you have that full moon in your own sign in the 1st house there, in your, you know, natural house, that kind of, to me, intensifies your sense of self. And, you know, it's funny because sometimes Aries gets accused of being self-centered because of that. And really, it's not fair in a lot of ways. It may be true, but it's not fair because you are the ruler of the house of self. The 1st house is a house of self. So it only stands to reason that your own life, your own image, everything about you is of great concern to you. And all of the fire signs, you know, I'm a Sagittarian and Leo, we are all concerned as fire signs with expressing ourselves, which means that it's coming from ourselves, expressing ourselves. And creativity is about the, you know, expression of the person's soul to the masses, really. Even if they, you know, create these fantasy situations, they're still imprinting the world with their energy. Artists. So, okay. On with the reading. And, you know, the first card I picked was the 2 of Cups for the overall theme. I just want to, you know, reiterate about the differences between the love readings. The general readings, I may mention relationship issues, even though I do go into separate love readings. I felt that that would be redundant, but sometimes you can't help but acknowledge that in a general reading. Okay, so let me look at this for a second. I mean, the first thing I thought when I looked at the overall energy is the idea of either commitment on an emotional level, or forgiveness, or getting back together with someone, reuniting. Now, this could very well be in a business sense. Now, I did say that there's a lot of energy in that 7th house. So, I wouldn't be surprised if a fair number of Aries people who were single and maybe dating will make a move of some sort that makes their relationship a lot more committed. And because the 7th house can indicate marriage and similar activities. So that could be joining together with that person. That's kind of like a soulmate energy as well, the 2 of Cups. So there's a real feeling that you're understanding the other person on a deep level. It's not a sex thing. It's not a marriage of convenience. It's a real deep felt soulful connection that is being made. Now, so that could just be what's going on for you romantically, but it can also be in the work environment that you have to make a choice, and it could be that heart-centered choice. If you're not doing something that is in alignment with that, you may be kind of like back and forth. And actually, we'll look at the past position. We have the Chariot. So this is a card of someone who is really trying to, focus, be one-pointed. And it's a card of victory. But because it's a number 7, it can be a card also of kind of a turning point, even not choice, but fate or some sort of situation. It's connected with the sign Cancer for those who are in a relationship, and maybe that was a past relationship, or or maybe you met somebody who was a Cancer and now you're committed to that person. But in terms of going back to relationship, it can be that you had a lot of challenges that were facing you, and you were able to kind of keep your head together, and maybe you have gotten a big client. The 2 of Cups could be you connected to some other person, but it might just be on the work front as well. But there's an emotional connection to this, which kind of transcends the typical job situation. So it would have to be a very special kind of a job. For some people, it could be that you forgave a former business partner and you've reunited with them. Maybe you were trying to deal with things by yourself, and that's what the Chariot was representing, and hold things together, and then you decided just to forgive that person. For the near future, we get the Hangman. So it sounds like there's going to be, like if you've had to make a choice in some way, then you're going to have a little bit of a waiting period after that you can't really do anything about to make any thing kind of happen faster than it's going to happen. So that might be something, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be a long period of time, but there might just be like a lull in the action. If let's say you were trying to get something started, maybe you're trying to get back with somebody that you used to work with, and maybe there's positive developments, but maybe it isn't going to be getting started at this moment. The other thing too is that it could be also in relationships that you may have reunited with somebody, but you're still kind of needing to have a little bit of a testing period to see if this is going to work. Because especially if you were like kind of estranged from somebody, going right back into the relationship would be, and acting like nothing had happened might not be very wise either. So you might have to just kind of let things be for a while and observe and see how they go in order to get a full sense of what's happening. What crosses you is represented by the Page of Wands. So one thing that immediately came to me is you might have like a lot of offers, like you might get word about something that's really exciting to you. Pages can indicate messages, and this could come to you and really knock your socks off, but you already have something else going on. Maybe you've already committed to another person about a job, and you really feel emotionally good about it. But this is very tempting because this is very like thrilling type of an energy. Also, this could mean that it could also mean that if you like, it's because it's in a challenge position, it could be that you really are excited about starting something. I get this feeling of that there's some kind of a delay that's happening, and sometimes delays are actually good, and in retrospect you find out that in fact it was the best thing that ever happened for you because you were able to see the situation better, and it turned out to not be as good as you thought it was. But you may be chomping at the bit to start something and just impatient for it to begin. And actually, that's not such a bad thing because it gives you that sense of momentum, so that when it does start to free up everything, whatever is holding back the situation, then you're able to do it. Now, I just thought of another example. Like, let's say you have met the perfect person of your dreams and they're still getting divorced and they can't be with you full time, or maybe they are living in a different place and you have to wait and you don't want to wait. Well, that's kind of like a hassle, but it's not the end of the world. So that kind of a thing where you're very excited and yet things are not happening quickly enough for you. The advice is represented by the Ace of Pentacles, so it could mean that there is some kind of a job offer. I'm seeing these new beginnings, Page of Wands and Ace of Pentacles. So there may be something that is being offered, and if you're kind of like, if you've been waiting, you may have been waiting for this ideal situation, and it does come to you because this is a new beginning in your earning capacity, in your job situation. There's just like a fresh new beginning. And so it probably will be something that you will accept and you'll be happy about. And it might be, the news that you receive that's so exciting that you start, but it might just be that you have to wait for everything to kind of shake out. But definitely new beginnings in money and career. And if it's a relationship, it could be a relationship that's very solid, that's very kind of a grounded relationship, not, which means like a keeper type of a marital situation, not just like an affair. The outcome is the Knight of Wands. So it's like, kind of like you, it's funny because, this is, I think, I always say that this is Aries. But it's actually, I think it's associated with Sagittarius. The wands are associated with fire in general, but I think this is like particularly associated with Sagittarius, and I think of it as Aries because I think of, your ruler is the god of war, and I think of like a knight going into a battle. And I had, it's funny, while I was explaining this reading, I had forgotten that this was Aries. I was just thinking in terms of the cards, and I wasn't like connecting it to the astrological sign. And now I see exactly why you got the Page of Wands, because waiting, having something in suspension is not natural or, something that Aries is keen on doing. You're more like the Knight of Wands. The Knight energy tends to be a bit chaotic because it's so eager. It's so enthusiastic and it's so fearless. So you're going to be, this is going to be generating that type of energy which you tend to exhibit, quite frequently within you. And I think it's going to be either due to feeling like you've met your soulmate, or because you're finding either your own career, which really kind of I should really say, though, I don't think it's necessarily you working for yourself. I think that there's another person involved. If you are working, there's a cooperation as represented by the Two of Cups. There could be you coming together with somebody else. And that it's really, kind of like getting your juices flowing. It's making you feel alive. And it's a new beginning in your career as well. I mean, it's a new, well, I shouldn't say career, but it's a new beginning in a particular job. So there's like a sense of freshness about it, and you love beginnings. So this is right up your alley, Aries. And so we'll see what happens, right? Because that's another good thing about doing these more frequently, is we can kind of see what comes up, and it's not going to be, forgotten by the end of the month. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, there's a link below to, you can click to go on my website. Otherwise, enjoy the first 2 weeks of October. Bye.